My fiancé gave me a $20 engagement ring and claimed he invested the rest. I believed him, until I discovered the truth. The garage door opener groaned, a mechanical shriek that usually signaled the start of my mundane Tuesday morning commute, but today, as the heavy metal sheet rattled up its tracks, it was unveiling the end of my life as I knew it. The fluorescent light flickered on, buzzing like an angry insect, and illuminated the clutter of our shared suburban existence. There were the recycling bins, overflowing with cardboard. There were the winter tires stacked in the corner. And there, squarely in the middle of the space where my Honda Civic should have been able to reverse, was a shape covered by a heavy, gray canvas tarp. It wasn't a box. It wasn't a pile of donations. It was distinctively, aggressively aerodynamic. It leaned on a kickstand, the fabric pulled taut over handlebars and a sleek fuel tank. My heart didn't sink, it simply stopped. I stood there in my heels, clutching my travel mug so hard the ceramic bit into my palm. The steam from my coffee curled into the freezing January air, mirroring the fog of confusion that was rapidly turning into a storm front in my brain. I looked down at my left hand. There, resting loosely on my ring finger, was the band mark had slid onto my skin less than 12 hours ago. It caught the garage light, but it didn't sparkle. It didn't fire off prisms of light. It just sat there, dull and flat. A placeholder. That's what he had called it. A strategic, financial placeholder. I walked toward the tarp. My legs felt heavy, like I was wading through wet concrete. I reached out, my fingers brushing against the rough canvas, and I knew. Deep down in the pit of my stomach, where intuition screams before logic can catch up, I knew exactly what was underneath. I gripped the fabric and pulled. The tarp slid off with a heavy swish, pooling on the concrete floor. It was red. Not just red, it was a violent, screaming Italian red. A brand new, 0-mile Ducati Panigale V2. It gleamed under the flickering lights, a predator made of carbon fiber and aluminum. It looked fast, dangerous, and expensive. I stared at the chrome. I stared at the leather seat. And then, I stared at the ring on my finger. The pieces of the puzzle slammed together with such force I physically stumbled back against the recycling bin. Invested, I whispered to the empty garage. The word tasted like bile. Before I tell you what I found stuffed into the storage compartment of that bike, the piece of paper that would turn my sadness into a cold, terrifying rage, you need to understand exactly how deep this betrayal went. I'm not just going to leave him. By the time I walked out of that garage, I had formulated a plan to ensure that every time he looks at that motorcycle, he feels a pit in his stomach the size of the Grand Canyon. It was 7:15 a.m. when I found the bike. By 8:30 a.m., Mark would be awake, and by 9 a.m., his life would be completely dismantled. To watch full video, kindly click here.